As a manager, you need to be able to improve the performance of your team members. However, most young managers don't really have a clue on how to go about this. In his new book, Transform, Chandramouli offers us a systematic approach to improve performance. Now, what is this systematic approach? He talks about performance as being a function of 4 elements: motivation, ability, opportunity, and direction. This framework gives you a systematic approach first to understand performance and then to use that understanding to improve performance. Let's now look at each of these 4 factors in the PAMOD framework in turn. When you're looking at ability really refers to the capability to do a job. So if you're looking at a salesperson needs to be persuasive. A salesperson needs to enjoy meeting customers, needs to be able to build rapport, to ask the right questions. Of course, ability in itself is not enough. You need to be able and willing. And this takes us to motivation. Motivation is your drive to not only do the job, but to continually improve in the job. And whether you have the right environment where you are intrinsically motivated for that job. Now, note that ability and motivation are largely internal to the employee. Then we come to opportunity. Even if you have ability and you have motivation, you must have a role and a goal which allows you to express yourself. If you have a role which allows you to express yourself, if you have the goals very clear and you have the supportive resources, then you have the opportunity. Of course, in organizations, this is not enough. Is the role itself aligned to what is important to the organization? Because otherwise you might be performing, doing very well, but you don't have the best opportunity because it's not visible to the organization. So that is the third, which is opportunity. The fourth element is direction. Today, as you see, the environment keeps on changing. Challenges keep on changing. So somebody needs to work with you to mentor you, guide you, remove blocks. And this is where the role of a leader comes in. Am I enabling you to realize your best and express yourself at work? Now, if you take these 4 factors together, they present a very interesting framework, the PAMOD framework. What is interesting about this also is that this is a multiplicative framework. What this means is that the impact of motivation on performance is higher proportionately for a higher ability person. So this leads us to the following multiplicative equation. Performance is a function of ability, motivation multiplied by opportunity, multiplied by direction. And that is the whole PAMOD framework, PAMOD. So you're a practicing manager and you're looking at PAMOD and you're saying, how do I use PAMOD to improve my team's performance? I think the first step is you use data and you use conversation to understand where you stand on each of these 4 parameters. Then what we do is we go slightly beyond it by asking questions on each of these parameters. So when you're looking at ability, it is, what are the abilities required for the job? Does the individual demonstrate these abilities? Are there abilities I need to coach and train and adapt to this circumstance? Moving further, okay, the individual has the ability. Is the motivation in the right place? Are there barriers to performance at work? And sometimes in motivation, one has to be able to understand personal drivers as well as professional drivers of motivation. Now, ability and motivation are still internal. There are questions you still have to ask. I have an employee who's able and willing. Am I giving him the right space to perform? Opportunity tells you that, does the employee have the freedom to express himself or herself? Are the goals and roles clear? Am I putting obstacles to performance that I can remove? Okay, so now you've got the ability, you've got the willingness, you've got the opportunity, but work is dynamic. People need to improve. Are we giving direction? Is the employee having the ability to reflect, to self-analyze and self-correct? And are we doing that in a systematic way? Thus, you can see that if you apply PAMOD with data, with conversation, you can use it to improve the performance of any of your team members. Since I have read Mouli's book Transform and I looked at this PAMOD framework, I started applying it to my own work. And one of the critical things in that framework is this ability to separate ability from motivation in analyzing your own work. And when I looked at it and was able to make this separation, it helped me to look at my own role differently. And thus, I have been able to see both for myself and for the teams I lead that PAMOD offers you a structured way to improve performance. You know, I've known Mouli right from the time we were at Asian Paints together. And when he started writing books, he took complex concepts and he distilled them down into simple structures which a practicing manager can use. Chandramouli's third and last book, Transform, does just that. I have found it extremely useful, and I think it is a guide which will help many of you succeed in the workplace.